What's going on, everyone? Happy Friday and welcome to the Cylon Johns and Jills. Tonight we have a thriller for you, Season 2, Episode 5, The Farm. It's a pretty. What is happening? And I'm back. So, we had a really somber episode. How is everyone today? I tried to break it up with a little comedy. I heard my own voice, then I shat myself. So Mackenzie L. Burns is no, Riso, what is up? Jennifer Catalano, how are you
Jennifer
doing?
Catalano.
Hmm, is that a relation to Bobby Catalano? I wonder. And is she a Cylon too?
She is.
Julianne89, it is so great to see you here. Hercules, Hercules, so happy. So, let's get right into it. I am Johnny B. Crazy. This is the Cylon Johns and Jills. Name will be changed soon. First off, I'll introduce my co-host because ladies first. John St. Baptiste. What's up, man?
You can call me a woman, but don't call me a lady.
Well, okay, I get that. That's good. Hope you're doing well tonight.
I am kind of Starbuck with a little more facial hair. So,
hey, man, when you put on that backwards tank top, I get a little hot. So
I know you do. I know you do. I saw the video. You perv. So,
with that, okay. No, today another co-host. These are all co-hosts now. Everyone has graduated. I don't know. I think Bobby's Centurion number 42. I don't know. John gave her some weird number the other day. I think it was 11.
Cylon number 9.
Oh, Cylon number 9. Kenzie is Cylon Jill number 2. Clarissa is Cylon Jill number Randy. And then Amy True, pick a number 1 through 12 that hasn't been picked. All right. How's it going? No, Amy True will be number 1. Huh? Is that good for you, Amy?
Number 1, I was saying 3.
Oh, 3. 3's not taken. Go ahead with that. How are you doing tonight, Amy True?
I'm good. I'm awake. I'm full of coffee, so.
Awesome. I'll try to keep it exciting and titillating, or whatever you want to call it. Bobby Catalano, how are you doing? I feel like I just saw you not that long ago. You're so awesome, Bobby.
Thanks, Johnny. You're pretty awesome yourself. Hi, everyone. Hello, Jennifer, my little sister, who came to my thing. And to Reese, because he's adorable.
Reese, you hear that? You're adorable.
Am
Look
I
at this
frozen?
adorable guy.
You're frozen.
Is it me? Nuh-uh. Is it me?
Might be me.
Oh, okay. Either way, I think you're okay, Bobby. If you can hear me, you're good.
I can hear you.
Clarissa Thompson. We got these Canadians on the panel, and I feel like they're outmatching us. They can go to the actual site of the filming. They can do some snooping and investigating. I don't trust them. But Clarissa Thompson, how are you doing tonight, eh?
I'm good. I won't be going to Vancouver again until May, so there's some time before I start investigating.
Got to send plenty of pictures of that. Mackenzie L. Burns, what and how are you doing? Is there any maple syrup to be found?
In my house, no. But which is like a shame. I should be like, what is it? What would be the most polite thing to do? Slap me in the face? I don't know. But I'm doing very well, and this episode reminds me so much of like more or less more science fiction shows than I've seen because I am still a novice in science fiction, but it's more dystopian elements in it than sci-fi really this episode, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, that's a good point. I'll give a quick overview of the episode. Then we'll start with Kenzie, Clarissa, Bobby, then Amy, and rotate through. But while we're talking about a scene, everybody go to town. Chat, feel free to chime in. Ask the Jills any questions you want. Ask John limited questions. He may or may not give you an answer. We can't tell you. That's kind of a common hashtag. I don't know. Put that in the chat. Very deep episode. We have some developments on the fleet. Uh, a very crisis of conscience with Lee and his father. Rosling taking the next step, escalating the religious fervor, uh, taking members of the fleet with her back to Cobol. Then we cut to Kara, who gets shot in a failed, well, before they even get to attempt to steal the aircraft, which is a heavy raider, if I'm not mistaken. And, well, she gets shot, wakes up in a hospital, very creepy hospital. Then many developments occur. But they get to escape Caprica and are headed back to Cobalt, if I'm not mistaken. So, with that, I will set up the opening scene. Not the opening scene, but we'll start on Galactica with Adama. Hashtag Adama Mama is returning to duty. Everybody is happy. This is a really heartfelt, good moment. You kind of need this warm up for this episode before everything goes down. Right after this, we see Zarek pressuring Apollo. He is trying to make him basically denounce his father. Apollo can't go through with this, takes the tape away. Rosalind steps in, and we know what happens. Kenzie, your thoughts? Anything you noticed? And anything you want to ask the Jills or bounce off of them as well?
Yeah, like in this scene, we see obviously Dama, like Johnny said, returning to the control room, sort of to speak. And he sees, like, he's talking about like how understanding with time, who you can trust, and even like the people around you. Sometimes you can trust them, but then they turn out to be like kind of crazy, which is him obviously reflecting on Sharon or Boomer, whatever you want to call her, and how the fact that she's now dead, and he becomes very like kind of emotional about like all of this because it's him too also walking back to the scene of the crime, where this has happened, and I'm surprised he didn't have any slight PTSD when walking into that room, because of what had happened, and because they now know that there are, or at least was one, at least confirmed Cylon on the ship, to be a little bit more weary, but hey, it's hashtag Adama Mama, so he can do whatever he wants, or act however he wants. But yeah, Ty was still suspicious to me in this because it's just like, and they're all just kind of like solemn, and but Gata was also had a few lines. I can't remember them right now, but they were kind of like, because, and then when Adama's like, anybody would be stupid to follow Rosalind or whatever, it's a suicide mission. But later on in the episode, we find out that there's more and more people that are flocking to her side. So imparting martial law may not have been the best idea, especially when more people maybe side with the government than the military on certain actions.
Oh, for sure. What do y'all think about that decision by Rosalind, and what is Tom Selleck up to, if anything? And we can go with Clarissa, and then y'all can bounce it around, try to, yell at each other. I know Bobby's good at it.
I did sort of want to start off just like Mackenzie, because you were mentioning, sort of like you're thinking that Adama would have had more like PTSD. But even in that first scene where he comes in and they're all chanting Adama, and he gives the speech and everything about, being saying how much everybody means or whatever, he says to Ty, I feel strange, like closer to the ground. So I'm kind of wondering with that statement, did he mean his perception is skewed, like his overall like perception of the surroundings are skewed, or is he saying that he feels like he's close to the grave? That was kind of what I was getting from that, was, closer to the ground could very well mean like, 1 foot in my grave. But I wasn't really sure what he meant by that.
Does anyone else know? I can touch on it later if y'all don't know, but it can kind of maybe help what I think it is. But
I'm trying to because I think I've maybe heard of that before, but it could be just the fact that he has now not fallen, but he's kind of fallen at the same time from slight grace in a sense in the eyes of a lot of people, because of how Ty said that it was Adama's decision to arrest Rosalind, so he probably maybe feels that he was so high up in a lot of people's respect that are really based in the military, but average people or civilians. So now that because of Ty, he's now fallen from grace in a sense, and that he feels more closer to the people who are by his side and are in the control room. Maybe it's that. But it also could be, like you said, the physical sense of feeling like he's slightly dying on the inside.
Mm-hmm.
Amy, what you think about that?
Same as Clarissa. I think it was the whole 1 foot in the grave thing. He's did he flatline at some point as well? So technically he did die.
He had to leave to drown a baby real quick, if you didn't remember.
Yeah. But technically he did die, and so that's going to have quite a profound effect. I mean, we don't know what he experienced while that was going on. But yeah, it does. The way he says it is, he sounds a bit scared, almost. And I think it is. It's like he's kind of like a realization of his own mortality.
Do you think as well it had anything to do with him loving a Cylon? As he alludes to later in the episode, how could we love a machine?
Yeah, I think he's quite. I think he's struggling with his feelings around the whole thing. I think when we see him later on, and he's so upset. He is quite traumatized by it all. I think he's probably finding it quite hard to process at the moment. He's not been hugely emotional up until this point. He's quite stoic, and now he's. I think his emotions might be starting to get the better of him slightly.
Sorry, I dropped. No, that's a good point. John, would you like to throw them anything here before we
The scene when he walks onto the bridge is so celebratory. And then just a wee bit later, we see, as you were saying, a third of the fleet jumps away. I think there's something important to be said there. Also, slang and customs and upbringing. Clarissa, and I'm sorry, this is a wee bit off topic, but I do want to ask, because you brought up the whole thing about I feel closer to the grind. Now, in my family, which, my family, they came here from Ireland. Down under, people say down under and they're talking about Australia. And no, down under means you're dead. You're in the grave. Now, I wanted to ask Amy, is that just an Irish thing, or is that a that UK thing, that phrase?
Down under would be Australia from here, because if you look at the globe, they're opposite us. So.
Okay, I was just curious because it led me on this thinking tangent that I'll be bringing up in about 9 episodes, but sorry, I do that to you guys. But I think Adama is definitely, I think when he's saying that, he's saying, being someone who's had a near-death experience, it really does change your life. It changes the way you look at things. It changes the way you feel about things. And I think that's reflected quite well in just the way Adama has that conversation with Ty. Now I know Mackenzie thinks that Ty was Cyloning it up, but
not in that moment, but he is just a Cylon in general.
Okay, I think Ty was just thank fracking the Lords of Cobol that I don't have to deal with this shit anymore.
And I think he was a happy man. I think he drank a little less to celebrate.
Or maybe, or there could be that whole thing of his relief is because his cover doesn't get blown yet. If he is a Cylon, the fact that, like, you know how they want to hide in secret or hide in plain sight almost until they do things like Boomer did, or Fleet Boomer did, and such. So maybe it's like the now, no, not all the attention's on me anymore.
Or I think he was like, oh my gosh, now this means I get to spend more time with Ellen. Yeah.
And get more drunk as the day goes on.
I think the last thing he wants to do is spend time with Ellen.
Yeah.
Bobby. I'm sorry. I was
No,
going to say
just
if
like,
Bobby
I'm
had
just-
anything. Oh, God.
I was surprised at how much alcohol they still have on Galactica when the water was such a problem, like in season 1.
Well, they got a lot now, considering, but still, I mean, you can make some cheap stuff, but there's still a few stashes. Well, it's only been a month, a little over a month and a half, right, John? So it's not been that long. It feels like it's been forever. So that's a good point.
I think we're just shy of the 90-day point. But
Okay.
yeah, I mean, it hasn't been very long. And you know, there may be ramifications here, by the way. Certain things like alcohol and so forth might become commodities. Like, you're not drinking prison hooch or moonshine. You're like, if you want the good stuff, that might become a commodity.
Yeah.
And other luxuries might.
It has to be an issue at some point. That's just the nature of the beast, right? Bobby, did you have anything you'd like to say about Adama coming back? And then what do you think about Rosalind playing this religious card and really going for it? I mean, she goes all out here. And then
I think everyone's going all out. They've all lost their minds.
can you blame them?
No. No, there's a lot going on.
We'll bounce it to you, Clarissa. What do you think? And then Jills, go at it.
Fight.
I think I have glitter in my eye.
Oh no.
And Adama saying this religious crap that people can't believe it, won't believe it. Do you think he's lying to himself? I'll throw that out there as well.
Oh, I think that he assumes that people are less religious than they are. I think because he has training to fall back on as a military officer in the face of conflict and strife, he automatically resumes order and discipline, which is something that he is accustomed to in military life. And I don't think he is fully embracing the fact that the average person doesn't have that kind of thing to fall back on, and very often will fall back on faith. And I think that his failure to see that very much colors his ability to see how many people would be willing to go with her as a religious figure as their leader.
Amy, you want to pick up on that?
Yeah, it's funny how she actually says that she is playing the religious card. I think she still can't quite believe it herself, which is why she refers to it like that. And yeah, Adama later on is saying that it's all rubbish. I think perhaps he's found the whole thing so unbelievable. I think he just can't fathom that other people would believe in it, because it does all sound a bit crazy, especially with going after the arrow. Because he doesn't really believe it himself, I think he perhaps assumes that other people will have the same opinion. He's surrounded by sort of military people all the time, and because he's in charge, he's quite used to people agreeing with his ideas.
And he wants reason to win the day, right, as well?
Yeah, so he's following logic. like he didn't want military assets to be used to go and get this arrow, and he's very much like, no, we can't pursue these crazy ideas based on some vision that you've had or some, thousands of year old prophecy in a religious book that's got no proof, essentially. And I think because he's surrounded by people that agree with him all the time, because he's in charge, he's the boss, that if he has an opinion on something, it's like quite likely that people agree with him, and he's used to people agreeing with him and doing sort of what he says. He makes the decisions. That to have suddenly all these other people that are like, actually, do you know what? We don't agree with you. We agree with her. It's probably quite a shock. It's completely unexpected for him. He doesn't think that, he doesn't realise that other people will have like a polar opinion to his, I think.
Yeah, when you think about it, go to you, Kenzie. He really has everything he has ever known is thrown in disarray at this moment as well. He wakes up from a near-death experience to a nightmare. I'd be wondering if I was still in a coma at that point.
Yeah, he most definitely does wake up to this insane nightmare that he kind of left, and then, or the beginning of the nightmare that he left, and then he's comatose kind of for like around 2 days maybe, or like for us it's about 2 days or 2 episodes, but for them it's probably about a couple hours, maybe a day or two, then in a coma afterwards. Because when he left, Rosalind was in the brig, and Lee was just in the control room as always. And then now he's woken up to the fact that Ty has set martial law, which was something that he least wanted to do. And now they're having, eventually later in the episode, with Rosalind, the threat of so many ships potentially leaving them, even though he doesn't believe it. Because while he was still asleep, the members of the fleet were trying to withhold goods and services in a sense. So it's like dealing with all of that stuff is tolling. And to find out too that his son has now kind of denounced him must really, really hit him in the heart, because he has already lost one son to forever, and he feels probably now that he will lose another son forever, based on a decision that he had made before everything had went haywire. So it's losing two at once, but for different ways, but the pain is still there.
Yeah, Clarissa, what is Apollo gonna do? What is gonna happen now? What do y'all think? Everyone on the panel, tell me what you think is gonna happen with Apollo and his,
I think, what did he do with the tape when he decided not to record it after all?
He took it with him, if I'm not mistaken. I think he did.
Because I tried to see what he did, and I couldn't tell if he took it or if he left it on top of the recorder. Because if anybody gets a hold of that recording...
No, I think he took it out and put it in his pocket.
Does he? I'm
almost positive. I'll have to watch it again, but I'm almost positive that he took it out and put it in his pocket and said, "I can't do this."
Right. Because if anybody got a hold of that tape, I love the thing is tapes. But if anybody got a hold of that tape, then that's some leverage over Apollo. I definitely see that Apollo is, well, that scene shows that Apollo is still conflicted, that morally he doesn't approve of the decision that Adama made, but it's your dad. What are you gonna do when it's your dad? Right?
The real moral conundrum.
The other side of that coin, though, is you could say that technically, if someone does find it, they could either use it against, like, who's maybe pro Adama, against Lee and against Rosalind by saying that maybe she coerced him into A coming with him, but then B also making a tape saying, I am now against my father. And I denounce him. Like, she could have said that, like, they could have made this thing as like a script almost, and saying that, like, a PR almost kind of thing. Like, she's that crazy that she'll kidnap anybody's son, but especially Adama's. Maybe.
But a dog. He broke her out of prison.
No, I know, but like people could like do the stupidest things, like some Randy the random Marine Cylon or something like that, like pulling out of nowhere.
If you only would have called Rando Doctor, you would have had it this week. Julianne's got a good comment. Funny Adama called them stupid if they believed the Earth prophecy, yet he tried to get them to believe they were going to Earth.
Mm-hmm.
Very good point. Amy, I see ya.
Sorry, I was trying to read the chat then at the same time. Yeah, I thought about the tape perhaps coming back to bite them in the ass maybe at some point. I could definitely see Zarek perhaps using that to do something nefarious. He's still shifty, I think. And I think there's every possibility that if he got hold of that tape that he would use it for his own purposes. I could definitely see that happening. And he's even telling them the quorum's undecided on if they're actually going to support her at all. Because he's saying, we have to do something. It's all his idea anyway. I wonder if there's an ulterior motive there on his part, because I don't know if he really does want Rosalind in power. I think I could see him trying to stage some sort of coup at some point, because he'd rather be the president himself. And then Lee seems quite disillusioned with the whole military thing at the moment. I think, especially with having Ty in charge, he says he loves and respects his father. I don't think he respects Ty at all, and only tolerated kind of what was going on to a point because he had to follow the chain of command. But I think he's lost respect for that as well. And I can see him just being like, do you know what? I don't want to be military anymore. I think he wants to distance himself from it, maybe.
Go ahead, John.
Well, if I can ask a question of Amy specifically, but the panel in general, do you think that Tom Zarek is nefarious, or do you think that Tom Zarek is a principled person who uses nefarious means to get what he desires? I'm just curious, because I think the way his character's been portrayed so far in this show can leave you looking at one or the other, and I would just like your thoughts on the matter.
Psychopath or sociopath? No, I'm just kidding.
I'd probably say that he's probably been portrayed to be this crazy character that is like the bad guy out of like all of them besides the Cylons, because we already know they're supposed to be the bad guy, so we kind of need more human bad people. But there's always that twist of this person is portrayed as this bad person, but in all actual reality they're a good person. So there's that one side, but then there's also the other side of he's just bad to be written as a bad character until the end of time kind of thing. So they're one way or the other. It just depends on how the episode goes, in my opinion, almost.
I have a mixed opinion on the question. It's so hard to tell when people are ambitious, when they're openly ambitious, because he is openly ambitious. There's no question that he's looking to climb the ladder. But The problem with ambition is that it can come from several different places. I don't know that he's necessarily an ethical person, but then I don't know. That's the big puzzle with Zarek in this show, right? Is that you spend half of your time trying to figure out what his motives are. Is it personal advancement, or is it something that he feels is like truly going to benefit the people? And does he want to benefit the people to his own benefit, or just for the sake of benefiting the people?
Yeah, hard to know if it's a show or not, huh? Bobby.
Yeah,
Derek. Oh, go ahead.
I was
ahead,
going to say it's both, because you don't know what his motives are at the moment, and I think perhaps until we know more about his motives, you can't judge it. And I think the way he's portrayed at the moment, I think it's designed to confuse you. You know, it's a deliberate thing that they haven't been very specific about it. So it would divide opinion.
So, is Derek your favorite character, Bobby, or what?
Nah,
You know that's Cammy's father, so.
no, he's nothing special. I can't figure him out either. I tend to think that he's probably not really as bad as they portray.
I mean, how bad can you be with that kind of haircut? I mean, honestly.
Tom
I didn't
Selleck.
mind the haircut.
Yeah, Tom Selleck, man. Put him in the freezer. Is that his Magnum PI move? Keep keep bodies in the freezer.
So funny.
So,
He's Tom Selleck forever. Poor
What?
Derek.
we'll move on from the
Oh, my sister's
meat
back.
locker. And I just want to say a shout out again. We'll say everyone. AU Pack Mule, Jennifer Catalano, Riso, Julie Ann 89, Clarissa Thompson, whoever the hell that is, Lady Dreamfire, thank you so much for popping in. I just got to make sure I say hey to you guys because you are fracking awesome. Sorry, I almost fracked up there. But we'll go on to, we find Tyrell talking to Adama. They really talk about can you love a machine. This is a really emotionally charged conversation, and it goes into, we find out what Callie's sentence is going to be 30 days in the brig. And after this, we get the scene with Boomer, which I won't describe too much because I want to know how you feel that. So, both talking about love. Can you love a machine? And
I heard a Cylon.
Yeah? You heard, did I Cylon?
I think you Cylon.
What do I need to say?
Nothing.
Oh, y'all heard me though? You understood me.
It was like the Callie's imprisonment time, and like they're talking about Tyrell and all that stuff. Yeah, we like it was just broken up slightly. Like I understood what you were saying.
I'll do it really quick now. Callie's thrown in the brig for 30 days. Found out she gets a pretty light sentence. Am I roboting again? Oh, Bobby scared me. Okay, and then
No, you're good.
I'm not fucking. And then whether you can love a machine or not. Is it happening again?
I didn't say anything this time.
Anyways, back at you, grainier than ever. Adama asked Tyrell if you can love a machine. And we get this really emotional conversation. And then we go back to Adama with Boomer's body. What do you think's going on there while a robot every damn where? I'll probably just go to Avatar. Fracking bastards. Go ahead, Bobby.
I don't have nothing to say.
Probably you couldn't understand a word I said.
What about Boomer's dead body or Cylon Boomer's dead body? And
I keep getting called that in chat. That's my new name in chat. So many people are screwing it up.
So you're saying I need to redo that again?
No.
I'm trying to get Bobby to talk. I'm trying to interrogate Bobby.
I I don't have nothing to say. I'm telling you, this episode, I just sat there like, WTF the whole time. What? What? What the hell? Yeah, no, I didn't. I don't know.
It brings up, I guess, the whole question of can you love a machine aspect into what we would now think of in 2019 and beyond is like, can you love someone who's of artificial intelligence, like that kind of thing? Like if they walk up to you and they look and they sound and they act exactly like you, and they just happen to be not man-made, but man-made into an adult form most times. Can you love it? And it's like that moral question of, is this actually real or true love? And they bring that up too with Starbuck and Hilo and Boomer when they talk about like how children are supposed to be for the gods, and how like it's all about the love that the two people in that relationship have for one another. So it's based on love on both sides of the spectrum. One from more of that human side, and then the one from like Boomer was saying like, yes, it has to have love or it doesn't work, which is kind of a interesting dichotomy, because it's one's on the side of to have children while the other side is just to take over the world one way or another. But then it's also the one thing about Adama crying is like we never really saw a really lot of the close scenes between him and Boomer, so it's kind of like you're so emotional. Would you be even more emotional with Starbuck if it happened that this happened with Starbuck, or because she betrayed you, that you'd just be like, no? Yeah, it's my thoughts as I ramble. Someone save me from my thoughts.
Good point. Clarissa's just smirking. So, wait, I think I saw Amy reach for something. Amy, unmute there.
Yes, reaching for the unmute button. There is another Galactica scene between the conversation between Tyrell and Adama and the sobbing over Boomer's body, which is when he's reading Rosalind's message that she's broadcast to the fleet. Back to his conversation, he does actually ask Chief, like, did you love her? And he says he's quite conflicted, I think, about how to answer that question, because from the look on his face, it's a yes, but I think he feels like he can't say that, and he just says, I thought I did. But when Adam's talking about her, he's kind of like trying to tell him actually it's okay. He actually says she was more than a machine to us. She couldn't have just been a machine. And I think he's perhaps understanding a little bit more now, that it wasn't Tyrell's fault, because she had everyone fooled. And despite that, Callie's not in trouble for killing someone. She's in trouble for discharging a firearm without permission. That's what gets her the 30 days in the brig. It's nothing to do with the fact that she actually shot someone. It's just the fact that she fired the gun. Because I suppose they feel they can't say that she's murdered someone as such, because the person that she shot was, well, not a person by their definition. But it was a bit creepy the way he was saying, you'll see her again. There are many copies. It's like, how do you know that? He's been told, obviously, that there are copies. But to say to Chief, like, oh, well, you'll see her again, is like, what's he thinking they're going to do? And then with the people that are on Caprica getting into the Raider at the end of the episode, you're thinking, well, maybe he really is going to see her again, because the one that's down on Caprica at the moment, I assume they're heading to back to the Galactica, because they say let's go home, and that kind of is their home, which is going to be a shock for a lot of people, because the Boomer that's just died, they were all very against how the people were all kind of crowding around, jeering at her when just before Callie shot her, people are going to have a very negative opinion. But I think then when they meet this new boomer as such, Adama's not going to probably put up with people treating her like that or differently, maybe. Like when they're being called toasters and Six is saying it's like racist, I think perhaps he might get a bit more on side with that because he cares about Boom so much. I think he might also almost be grateful to kind of have her back in a sense. I don't think, and it's unusual to see Adama being so emotional as well in that scene, and then obviously in the later scene, he's shown his emotions a lot more. When he has to make difficult decisions and that kind of thing, he doesn't let his emotions get in the way, so we don't see him being emotional very often. And it's very, very different. Like his character's coming across very differently in this episode.
I don't know that they'll be bringing, like, I don't know that they'll be bringing the Arrow back to Galactica in the first place. Because, I mean, Starbuck disobeyed orders when she took the Raider and she went back to Caprica to get the Arrow. She did it for the president. So I don't think she's going to go back. Like, I don't think they're going to go back to Galactica. I think they'll go to Cobalt.
Well, it was to bring
The Arrow of Apollo
to bring me the Arrow, and she's assuming that, well, because they don't really know like what's happened on Galactica, so I can assume, like, unless boomers beam me up, Scotty, kind of thing, of like the whole thing of understanding what's going on up on the fleet has like transcended back to her. Like, unless that's happened and she's said, oh yeah, like there's been all of this stuff has happened, because no one really knows what has happened since pretty much the last episode of season 1. So I can assume that she may want to go and find Roslyn, unless there's some sort of message between Lee and Roslyn and Tom Selleck and the fleet that all of these people that have been stuck on Caprica get. Because the episode next is called Home, if I'm correct. So
What are you looking ahead? No, you can't even know the name of the next episode. What's wrong with you? I'm telling. John, mark that down. Haha.
well, it's on the website that I used to watch the episode. It says that's what it's called.
Duly noted. Duly noted.
I literally hate my internet tonight. Sorry, everyone. My lovely face would be on camera, but I'm a Cylon. Amy, Bobby, Clarissa, Kenzie, any final thoughts on the fleet scenes? And John, is there anything you would like to bring up? Or one main thing that you can think of to bring up for the fleet scene that you'd like them to talk about?
Okay, the one thing I want to bring up that I can't wait until Monday for, because I want everybody's thoughts on this. Hey, I'm doing my best to wait until Monday for big things. But
no, you're good, bro.
Okay. Adama has his conversation with Tyrell where he's like, how could you love a machine? Blah, blah, blah. Obviously, Adama loved her. I mean, she was part of his crew. He cared. Obviously, Tyrell loved her. He was his significant other. And then Callie gets 30 days for discharging a firearm when she wasn't supposed to. Does anybody else see a dichotomy there? Does it? Do you think the show is kind of going somewhere where the Cylons are particularly the human models are being more humanized, but still it's, all animals are equal, just some are more equal than others.
Yeah, that was kind of weird that they treated Boomer like she was a human and Callie like she was a Cylon. She may be a Cylon, who knows? But based on the fact that she wanted to kill Boomer, and she did kill Boomer in the last episode. It's not so much, but yeah, that's just weird how they're like shh, about Boomer, and then they're like about Callie. Like it's just like, huh? But you like wanted
Oh
to
no,
save her.
my point was that she didn't get charged with killing somebody. She got charged with, using her sidearm. She got 30 days in the brig. She didn't get charged with murder.
Well, because it's
I think
not
that's
really.
what I'm talking about the dichotomy here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Sorry,
I mean,
Kenzie, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I just need to clarify what I was saying.
No. But that was just my point. I was like, huh? Because they're like, never mind.
I think probably the most accurate way to describe it is, I mean, the reason that the Cylons were built in the first place is because basically they were slaves. And unfortunately, if you look at the history of slavery in any culture, there is always that skirting idea of them being property and them being people. And there's a certain amount of compassion that many people have, but they also saw them as slaves. They didn't see them as people. And I think that we're seeing the same thing with humans and Cylons in this, that they're starting to recognize that, well, maybe they have emotions, or, you can love them and things, but they're completely ingrained uh, in their perception of Cylons as being machines. And I think that the way that he acted and sentenced Callie would be similar to how somebody would be treated for lynching somebody else's slave. As terrible and deep as this is, and I try to keep it light, but I'm just making a historical comparison here. I think that that's sort of the dynamic that we see.
This show is terrible and deep. And
yeah, it's true. It's hard to keep
in the
it
words
light.
with another man with gorgeous curly black hair, if you thought there was a happy ending, you haven't been paying attention.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's sort of how I see that internal conflict that's going on between them, and the choice that's made. Because if they had made another choice and they had punished her more severely, there would have been uprisings and protests, and he has to anticipate that most people are going to look at Cylons and be like, they're just machines.
Yeah, I do agree with that. There would, if they'd said that Callie had murdered someone, I think there would have been a huge backlash amongst the rest of the crew, but then amongst the fleet as a whole as well, probably. I was saying before, you look at how the crew were jeering and everything at Boomer when she was being led along. There was like hatred there, and then one of their own essentially to be punished for doing something that they all wanted to do. They'd go absolutely mental. They'd be writing about it. They wouldn't, as much as they respected Armour, and they would find it very, very hard, I think, to agree with him on that. That the person that has essentially kind of avenged him for being shot to be punished for it, that would be the opposite of what they expect to happen. And I think he feels that he has got to punish her in some way, and the only acceptable way he can do that by what their rules and regulations are is for firing a weapon without permission. That's like the best that he can do to give her some sort of punishment.
That's really good observations and statements. John, did you want to say something real quick?
Oh no, I was just going to ask if you had a personal thought on that before we segue into the other timeline in the show.
I think I'll dive into it Monday. I got a
Okay.
pretty good thought on it. Yeah, I'll save it. Watch that Monday freaking podcast, everyone.
I have one more thought
Go ahead.
about this. Is that Baltar was a background character this episode. He only had like one or two scenes, and he was just in the background. I don't think he even had like a sentence or two of dialogue, if that. Like it was like what? Because it's been all Baltar all the time, pretty much. There's always a section of Baltar. With 6, it was just he was a background character. I was like, what?
I can't believe it's not Baltar.
He was rolling his eyes as well. Did anybody else notice that when Adama came in? He's kind of joining in the clapping, but he looks so insincere. He's kind of standing there like, "Oh God, we have to do this." Yeah, and kind of rolls his eyes. He doesn't look very impressed.
After the first scene, I kept expecting, like, around every corner to be seeing Baltar all like.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, but I think that's one of the things the show does so well is there's no main character. Last episode you had an entire episode without Starbuck. Last episode, or was it the one before?
I think last one. I think.
Yeah, and then this one, like, yeah, you've got Baltar clapping. I don't think he has a line of dialogue, if I remember correctly.
Wasn't she in the last episode because she was playing like basketball?
Yeah, I think it was the one before that.
Yeah, you're right.
Julianne made a comment in the chat. I think even if Boomer weren't a Cylon, she still tried to kill the commander. So double standard for that, I think, too. That's a thought.
Really good point.
Because
Was it Baltar an animated sled dog? Possibly. Not on this show.
But like, yeah, that's a good point. It's like she tried to kill you. Like, wouldn't you be like more angry? But then also be like so slightly also relieved that she died in a sense. The fact that you don't have to like deal with your attempted murderer again. I don't know. Don't know.
You're muted, John.
Oh, sorry. He brings up the whole point that he trusted this person, that he liked this person, that he had faith in this person. He knew her for 2 years, et cetera, et cetera. Like, if I mean, if I shot you and you survived, like, and you came back and looked at my corpse after somebody assassinated you, I would hope that you'd be a little broken up and kind of confused about how and what you feel. If not, that's some really disturbing.
Yeah. Oh, what that?
But I can write it in the channel one day. Be like, this.
Well, if y'all want, we can move on to Caprica. Everybody ready? We got some.
There was one thing I wanted to ask though. When you guys were talking last week, because I watched back the stream that I missed, you mentioned there were about 50-something ships in the fleet, but they say that 24 ships have jumped with Rosling's ship, so that's 25 altogether. And they're saying that's almost a third of the fleet. So there's got to be over 70. So there's more than we thought there were.
I think 50-something was just a bad estimate on my part. I'll
Fair enough.
that one.
Oh, no, okay. Well,
speaking of numbers, did anybody get the number this week?
Yes. It was 47,857.
It's another number this week. We'll see if y'all pick up on it in a second. On to Caprica. Kara, Hunka Hunka Hilo, Anders, members of the Resistance, Sue Shan. If you don't remember her, you'll see her later in the episode. Nice and cozy. Uh, they are going to take out a heavy Cylon raider. They get ambushed. Kara gets shot. She wakes up in a very shady hospital, or seemingly. It's very weird and eerie from the beginning. I'll let you go from there. Talk a little bit up until we get to the point where Kara starts to make her escape. We'll talk about everything leading up to there, the reproductive talk, the cyst on the ovaries, the extra scar, and just what you thought was going on there in general to begin with. We will start off with Amy on this one. Wait, no, we gotta start off with frickin' Clarissa before I get in trouble, because Hunka Hunka Hilo's in the first scene. Sorry. Clarissa, then Amy.
Well, Hilo's in the second scene because Starbuck and Anders are having their little morning squabble, kissy kissy moment first. But which, I totally saw that coming. And I was noticing how Julianne was saying in the comments how Starbuck's new boyfriend looks like Apollo. Yeah, I noticed that too. And I was mentioning earlier to the gang here that I also thought, gosh, I know that actor. So if you watch the series Disjointed on Netflix, yeah, it's Taekwon Doug. But anyway, yeah, so they hit the airstrip and they're gonna go hit the airstrip and they're sabotaged and Starbuck gets shot. Everything's all like slow-mo and everything. They have a whole plan in motion, how they're gonna raid the airfield and destroy the fuel tanks and steal stuff and then that's all blown away. And then she wakes up in this weird hospital to this guy who says his name is Simon. And the first thing she asks is, "Are you a Cylon?" And then when he says, "If I was a Cylon, I wouldn't tell you." And I was thinking to myself, that guy's totally a Cylon. Did anybody go, that guy's totally a Cylon?
He's totally a Cylon.
Yeah. I was like, medical stuff. None of the other characters there. Oh, and they tell her that her boyfriend died. They didn't realize he was hit as bad as he was. And then she starts to cry, and I'm kind of like, girl, you ain't been with the guy that long. Really? Like,
Yeah, but
it's
she liked
sad.
him.
She must have. The whole thing, though, it's been a stressful, 6 weeks or so. Just a bit.
Yeah, but it's
Cracks are showing.
Yeah, she's crying more about like this one person she's known for maybe what 2-3 days. Yet the last time she had like an intimate scene with somebody was Baltar, and she's doing her quote Bobby holy shit moment.
I thought we were gonna have another one.
That would have been even
fun.
funnier. That would have been a moment to like break up a lot of the tension that happens in this episode, which was very dramatic.
Yeah, they did.
I don't know. This is weird. And also when she exchanges the dog tag for the arrow, it's like, don't you need that? Isn't that like the thing that identifies you? Because they made that whole thing of an emphasis. Episode 3, when I was supposed to call him Tran, Cecilus, and Patty Lips, aka Crashdown, all died. They all collected their dog tags. What, John? You're muted, so I can't hear you.
I'm sorry. I just want to say that's why you have two.
Oh, they have 2? So she's banking on the one that she's at.
Like name, rank, serial number, all that information's printed on both of them. And
But
you have 2 in case one gets lost.
she looked like she only had one on, though.
No, she has 2. Just like in the current military, there are 2.
Oh, just on the necklace, it looked like she just only had one, so I was confused. I was like, huh? Man, that was my only, like, weird thing about that ish. The Starbucks scene is like trading the what is it? Trading the arrow of Athena for your dog tag. It's like, Anyway.
Sorry, I was just reading Bubba's comment. It's because they squeezed out extra juice from her ovaries. Hashtag instant and intense emotion.
Boy.
Yeah, that would definitely make me cry.
Did anybody notice in the ambush scene, you know, when they were on Cobalt and they were being fired at from the bushes and we couldn't see who it was? And we were like, is it Cylons? Is it someone else? It was exactly the same. Like, you couldn't see. I wonder if they've got some sort of weird ovary hunting crew or something, like going after people coming to steal their eggs. But yeah, that was I noticed that straight away. I sort of wrote it down. It was exactly the same as like the unseen people in the trees. And as soon as Simon had told her that Anders had died on the operating table, I was like straight away, no, he's got to be a Cylon or he's working for the Cylons. He is a shifty bastard, because if that had happened, we'd have seen him get shot. And he was fucking long gone with all the others. Like they were legging it off into the trees, and he was near the front. So, you know, he certainly hadn't got hit. But Starbuck only got hit because she was standing in front of the trucks. Like she didn't have anything to protect her because she was monologuing away and walking forward, and the rest of them were protected. So you are, no, there's no way he got hit and died. You'd have seen him get shot at the very least. So I think it was kind of huge red flags waving, and then he just got consistently more creepy as it went on. I only told her that they were in an ex-mental institution as well. So yeah, just every scene with him, he got more and more and more and more creepy every time he was on the screen.
I love that they revealed that because it was filmed in an old mental institution. It's called Riverview. And my mother used to work in that hospital, and my godmother and my grandfather and my grandfather used to teach psychiatric nursing there.
You ever notice mental institutions always have names like Riverview?
Yeah, and then the one for
Brookside,
seniors. Yeah.
all this shit. It's like they should have
Valley
names
View.
like "You're fucking batshit" or
I work opposite one.
you know.
Yeah.
I just always find it amusing, like the irony that like how does anybody buy into this? Like, you know, my father works for a retirement community, and it's the same thing. Like they all have these names. It's like, no, this is where you're sending your parents to die. You can give it whatever name you want, but sorry, that was really morbid.
In that first scene with Simon as well, he tells her it's time for a pain medication, but clearly gives her something that sedates her, not a pain medication. And I was trying so desperately to like pause it and zoom in on the bottle so I could try and see what it was they were actually giving her, but I couldn't tell, which was annoying. But it definitely seemed more like a sedative than a pain relief, because it's straight away like her eyes were rolling back in her head and she was out, and pain medication wouldn't have that effect on you. Not instantly anyway. It might make you sleepy, but it wouldn't just straight away knock you out.
It's true, wouldn't. And then does she wake up with the new scar after that already?
No, the new scar is a bit later. It's after a few little pain medication
Oh,
moments.
okay. I had a question. So there's the scene. Simon comes into her room and sits down on her bed while he's like filling out paperwork and stuff, and she starts talking about how quiet it is and everything, and he starts talking about how people who come in have radiation sickness and it's terrible but quiet. First of all, I'm like, she seems to almost accept it until he says that she's been quarantined because infection's a big problem there. And then the next thing they show is he's giving her an examination. Is he giving her a pelvic exam? Are her feet in stirrups in that scene? I kept watching it over and over and I couldn't figure out if her legs were up or if he was looking at the sutures where he had stitched up her abdomen.
No, it was definitely a gynae exam because he tells her she's got an ovarian cyst at that point.
Right. But I mean, is he like, oh, well, you're military. When was the last time they sent you for a pelvic? Like, it's like, well, we
Yeah,
go
I
to
found that really
hospitals. They don't
odd.
just automatically give us pelvics. That would be just weird.
Yeah, it was weird. And I'd say coming from a Brit as well, that is extra weird because we don't do like we don't have gynecologists that we go and see on a regular basis kind of thing. So it's extra weird to me because like
What are you
you go
doing
for,
all up in my stuff?
exactly, you go for a smear test every 5 years and that is it. Nobody needs to be having their hands up there.
That's right. Not
Unless
here
you
either.
invite them to, and things it's very, very odd, and it was kind of like, what relevance has sticking his hand up a chuff got to an abdominal gunshot?
He does elaborate in the scene about how, women who could bear children are a commodity in their culture
Yeah,
now.
a precious commodity. That was so fucking creepy.
Totally creepy. But I
And then
mean, from
when
the time that he's all like, okay, in the stirrups, she wasn't like, excuse me?
she was a bit freaked out, I think. But when he mentions the ovarian cyst, later on, the fact that they're obviously trying to harvest eggs and stuff, I don't think it was a proper, that there might genuinely have been one, but I was thinking it's probably after you ovulate, you get something called a corpus luteum, which is like a kind of like a cyst, but then it goes away on its own, and it's where the eggs like erupted from the ovary. And I was thinking maybe that's what it is, and they know that she's just ovulated, and they're going to do something creepy. That's just my weird biology knowledge that was coming to the forefront. But it was when she said, I don't want a child, and he says, no one's forcing you. I wrote down foreshadowing straight after that because it was the way he said it. He was just so fucking weird, and he's talking about kids, he's got his hand up in her. I was like, something's not right here, there's something that's not right at all.
And he just helped himself.
And then he's all like, oh, well, I can understand why people in your position wouldn't want to have children. She's like, I'm a fighter pilot. And he's talking to her about how she has like evidence of abuse from childhood and like starts touching on that. And I'm like, whoa, this guy's got some nerve. Like,
yeah, that was, I felt so bad for Starbuck for that, but the way he just goes from that into, it's just really fucking weird. And he's talking about, we've seen all this evidence of old wounds. Why the hell were they x-raying her hands in the first place? She got shot in the gut. It was just a bit weird.
mm-hmm.
They just did whatever they wanted. All of her.
Well, yeah. What the hell else have they been doing to her while she was knocked out on the pain meds? And obviously it really triggers her. And I got the impression he did that on purpose. He wanted to get that reaction out of her, and upset her. And then I felt so bad for her because right at the end of that scene, she actually shoves her hands down underneath the blanket, like she's trying to hide that. And I was just like, oh my God, it's so sad. Because you don't see her being vulnerable very often. And yet she's in this strange place. Something weird's going on. She's not really able to move around much because she's injured. She's drugged. And then you've got this creepy guy triggering her with like
How do you
thoughts
think
about
all the
her.
bones in all your fingers in the same spot get broken?
Right, but
No, I'm
how
just
did they
asking.
know? Like
What
they
do you think
X-rayed her
happened?
hand.
Like, what would someone have done to do that?
Right.
A vice, a door, something like that, or actually physically held them and broken them. I tried not to think too much about that.
I'm curious what your thoughts might be about that. I mean, I agree with all of you. If somebody's name is Doctor and they don't smoke pot and talk about Milton, I don't trust them.
Well, what about, I mean, could have been just about anything. We don't know the story of her dad yet. Like, what if he was killed in a terrible car accident when she was a child and she was in the car with them and like they're hanging off a cliff or something? Her fingers are all broken from something slamming on them. She's trying to like hold on for dear life or something. We don't know. I mean, that's just a idea, but
I don't know. It's probably like just to have us, I guess, slightly triggered about what this character being Starbuck has went through in the past. Just to make us like triggered and all that stuff. But I feel like there's something like there's a mention of that, I guess, and maybe it's like because I've never, knock on wood, I don't know where one would be, but I've never broken anything, so I wouldn't know like what the types of things that you would either do or have done to you to break it in the same exact spot.
Car door.
Fingers, but on both hands. So to be both hands in the same
Window.
Your door frame, Kenzie. Your door frame's wood.
No, then I have to get up.
I'm just looking out for you.
No. Yeah. No, this is a cement wall. Remember, so like this. Remember, so it's like, yeah. It's supposed to, I guess, make us more emotionally invested in what Starbuck's past is. I don't know. And it's also to prove that he's a creepy Cylon and he knows everything about everyone. And
Oh, it's creepy. All right.
the bedside manner is like more rather than dot coddle. So dichotomy.
Didn't Leoben hint at Starbucks something about her mum as well? I think it's already been kind of hinted at that her mum was abusive. And somehow the Cylons know about this if Leoben mentioned it and now he's mentioned it. But the fact that she was playing her dad's music and wearing his jacket when they were at her apartment kind of says that she did have a good relationship with her dad. So it very much seems that it was her mum that would have done these things to her. So obviously there's the kind of the implication is that it was her mum. Her mum was physically abusive.
Yeah. And then after this is when she escapes. No, this is the first time she escapes from the room. And the number that was on the door seems kind of suspicious. And we find out that down the hall is 6, aka Shelley Godfrey, aka whatever you want to call her, and the doctor. So then Starbuck devises one of her plans, and Is this after when I think this is when also the mirror thing like happens after he comes back in to give her more medicine is when the mirror thing happens. And
She wakes up with the new wound first.
Oh, mirror, mirror on the wall.
They'd shown that mirror quite a few times as well. At the beginning of each scene, when he came into the room, you kept seeing her reflected in the mirror, and it was already broken as well.
Mhm.
But before she wakes up with a new wound is when Boomer comes back, Caprica Boomer. Are we going to sort of discuss that now, or are we going to do their scenes separately? Or
I don't. We could. I don't know. We could do like all of the.
I suppose
stuff.
if we're going to do all the Caprica stuff because they come together at the end, don't they?
Yeah. We could do. I don't know.
Sorry, Johnny's having some internet issues, so I'm gonna. Yeah, does anybody have anything else they'd like to say about the hospital?
Oh, there's a lot more to it. I was just kind of trying to keep it in order.
Right. I mean, if you don't mind, try to keep it concise. But if there's anything you picked up on or noticed, please bring it up. And I'm sorry, Johnny had to hop out. He's having some internet issues tonight. This happens to everybody.
It's just to show the creepiness of what Caprica is. It's like you got the normal part, and then you got the really creepy part. Like you would have thought like that. Where all the multiple Sharons are is where the baby factory was going to be, but no, like or where she had. Well, technically, where she had landed is where the baby factory is, and she didn't have to go very far. So that was the thing that we talked about before, which is came to fruition.
Yeah. I think the baby factory it's going to be a topic of its own. I just mean the up to and leading to when Kara leaves the hospital. Did anybody have anything else they picked up on or that they thought was really important? Or before she goes downstairs and sees the farm?
When a Boomer kind of appears, they've been looking for Starbuck for a little while, because they're saying that they've got to sort of keep looking for her. Halo and Anders and the rest of the group. They don't mention the other lady. What was her name? Sushan.
Sushan.
But they're not looking for her. It's like, well, obviously she got taken as well, as we find out sort of in the next scene, but she's not even mentioned. They're just talking about finding Starbuck. And then Boomer appears and saying she knows where she is.
Well, Anders, Fractor, and Hilo wants to, so.
Yeah.
Well, and this is also the scene that sort of like clues in the viewer that, okay, if you were suspicious, you should have been, because Anders is right here looking for Starbuck with Hilo, not dead.
Yeah.
So that there's sort of that clue in that. I think they probably popped that in right in the middle of the scenes of Kara's hospital stay on purpose.
Johnny and I will get more into this on Monday, but Ron and Dave knew that they felt they had an intelligent enough audience who would be suspicious of Simon's character. So it was just, how do we reveal it? And it's like, I think that was relatively well done.
So then, like, after the mystery pelvic, then the next time Starbuck wakes up, she's got like a scar next to one of her ovaries. Like, that doesn't make you go,
Do you think there are going to be any ramifications for that?
Oh, yeah.
That missing ovary?
Yeah. Well, I should have written down the dialogue, because they basically, when she escapes, he comes to see her, and he says to her, "Just about done with you, Starbuck." And at that moment, like, you can see the expression on her face when she goes, Nice way of putting it. Because she feels her suspicions are confirmed with what's going on about him.
Well, and she
saying-
points out her suspicions were confirmed because she never gave him her call sign.
Exactly.
I wrote that down the second he said it. She
Right?
introduced herself as Kara. I underlined it in my notes and everything. I was like, oh my god, he just called her Starbuck. He doesn't know she's Starbuck. He's totally a Cylon.
And
yeah.
did you see her face? Did you notice her face when he said it?
Yeah,
She was just like, nice way of putting it. Like, as in, not using my name, Kara. She's so new. And then when he leaves the room and you see that she's kinked the hose on the IV, you're all like, okay, she knows that something's up. She ain't no dummy.
She ain't no dummy.
So,
by the way, and I'm sorry, this is the last time I will interrupt anybody for at least 5 minutes. I do have to point out, if you're being given morphine, you will hit that not off sleep point within 5 minutes. Like so when that's put into her IV, like I do know that will happen. It can anyway.
Oh yeah, it can. It's just sort of, it wouldn't be that instant, like the
Right.
when you actually see her sort of knock out. That's like someone being put under an anaesthetic. The way she's just gone.
No, I think that it's mostly done for dramatic effect.
Yeah.
But,
and from the second that she's like, hey, I just woke up, her hand is under that blanket, kinking that hose. Like, she's caught on to the fact that he's sedating her constantly. So,
Yeah,
but it's at that point that she breaks out and she sees him in the nurse's office with Six. And I had it on closed captioning and I should have written down the dialogue for that scene and I didn't. But he says something about the sample that they took. So they did some kind of sampling on the one side, and then they say that she's due for surgery the next day to have them removed. So that led me to believe that there were both of her ovaries were there, but the first one was like an inspection of the viability of the ovary. That she didn't necessarily lose it.
I
or they
wrote
might
down
have
some of the
harvested
dialogue.
ova. That they may have just harvested ova from it and not the ovary itself.
I couldn't make out the whole thing. I can't actually put the closed captioning on when I watch it. I watch it on Amazon and it doesn't give me the option for it.
No.
He says, if lab tests are positive, the subject will be moved to the processing facility for the final, and then I couldn't make out that word. So I was like,
extraction.
What? Was it extraction?
I'm pretty sure the word was extraction.
Like I said before, with the fact that he said she'd got a cyst and it could have been a corpus luteum, that they might have been trying to actually get the egg that had just ovulated. However, they would only need to go in with like a needle or something to do that. They would not have needed to cut her abdomen open to get that. So I don't think they were just after that. I think they may have taken a whole ovary, or they've like taken the entire contents of said ovary, because they wouldn't have had to make a big incision like that unless they were doing something to it as a whole, I think. But again, that's coming from kind of some like biology / medical knowledge, so it could just be that they're doing that to make it more obvious to people, and actually they did only go in and get one egg, so I don't actually know.
Or some,
yeah.
A collection of a few. Yeah, it's kind of weird to like her not wanting like them. I guess Boomer not even knowing exactly what it is that we're trying to look for, even though she says I don't want to know. So if we see Starbuck or Starbuck potential lookalikes around in season 3 or late season 2 into season, or even in season 4, then we'll know this was the scene where some eggs were or could have been potentially fertilized. Ha!
Johnny's not here to reel me in, so I am going to throw one thing out there. Did anybody notice, like Sharon was kind of disgusted with the entire thing?
Mm-hmm.
Like she acted really disgusted. Now, my question is it that specific Sharon? Is this specific Sharon becoming, it gets back to the whole Adama looking at Boomer on the death slab. Like, are these individual people who have identities of their own? Or maybe all the Cylons don't want the same thing, or they aren't doing the same thing in the same way. They don't have the same plan. Like, there is a plan. We know that. You'll find it out in about 3 months, I think. But
3 months. The hell?
that's only a third of a baby. I mean,
I think it's going to depend
did
a
anybody
lot.
see what I did there? I thought that was kind of funny.
I think it depends a lot on their kind of experiences, because it says it said that when a new copy is kind of made, or they're uploaded back to, I don't know, the mothership or the mainframe or something, so that the new copy would have all the information that they had. But that must mean that from the time that the copy is made, they've only got that information, but then they have their own experiences as that copy, and that's probably going to colour their personality to an extent. So especially with Caprica Boomer, the way she's talking about it at first, she's quite matter of fact, and she's saying, oh yeah, we were researching this, and we tried, we couldn't do it, and she's quite matter of fact about it. But I think now the fact that she herself is pregnant has perhaps given her a different point of view on it. So she probably was in agreement with them up until that point. And because she said, when she essentially kind of ran away from the other Cylons with Hilo, she said to him, everything's changed. And that doesn't necessarily mean physical change. It could be her sort of feelings as well around what the plan was / is. That her feelings and thoughts and her participation in that have changed as well. So I think she's kind of, the fact that she's kind of like on the human side now as such, that's her going against, I think, what the rest of the Cylons were planning, and she's doing that because she's pregnant. And then, the Boomer that was on Galactica, her experiences are different, and she was upset and she wanted to kill herself because she was so confused and conflicted, and she didn't know what was going on, because she'd got she's having these blackouts where she's doing things, and she knows that she was involved somehow in the with the explosives being stolen, that kind of thing, but she doesn't know the full story. Her personality is different as well, because she doesn't know for certain that she is a Cylon really until she sees those copies of herself. And she's dealt with it in a different way. Like the Boomer that's on Caprica, she's like, right, no, we're going to do this, and she's going to do anything she can to protect this baby. Whereas the Boomer that's on Galactica tries to commit suicide. So that's a very, very different personality, and I think it's shaped by what they experience as that copy.
So if you're shaped by what you experience, then are you pretty much a human?
Maybe.
Everybody else on the panel, thoughts?
I don't know. If you can download your thoughts and your experiences into other models of yourself when you die, and they have the memories of that person, that is not something that we're able to do.
What do you think it would psychologically do to you if you remember dying? Over
multiple times.
and over again.
Yeah, one would imagine that there'd be a
Oh, I'm
certain.
getting really deep here. Sorry.
Well, I could say that it would be dramatic, but to my knowledge, I haven't died before and remembered it later. So I don't know
I remember
how.
when you died. We boxed your model, and for some
Oh
reason it like
man.
come back out. I don't
But
know
is
what.
it? They don't really die, though, do they? The body
No,
dies.
but their consciousness is just passed on to
Yeah.
another model of themselves.
So
So
it's not really death in the true sense of the word. So
yeah, that's kind of what
it's
I'm getting at.
yeah. So it wouldn't necessarily be like an awful, awful experience because I mean, obviously, it's going to involve some sort of pain or not particularly nice interaction or something. But
I mean, it's
Yeah.
just I'm giving you some food for thought, and I'm not going to give you any answers. But has anyone
What-
here on the
But
panel?
I'm not listening.
Have any of you ever been stabbed?
No. The hell?
Have any of
That's
you ever been
awesome.
shot?
no,
Have any of you ever been in a car crash?
No.
Yes,
Okay.
And you survived that, right?
obviously.
It doesn't mean it doesn't change you or the way you think about things. Like even if you do survive without download, and all three of those things have happened to me, and I don't think I downloaded, but I'm pretty sure I survived. Or this is
Right.
all in my head, and you're all part of the Matrix.
But
But
at the same time though, like you know that death is possible for us. So there it was something to lose. So your perception of it would have been based around your understanding that you are mortal and they
yeah.
don't have to face that.
I'm sorry if you hit a curb at 95 miles per hour and your car flips over.
Oh yeah, no, it sucks, I'm sure.
You I think whether you know you're going to download or not, it changes your life.
Possibly, but I mean, I have had a near-death experience, but I was quite calm at the time, so it's quite. It would be different for everybody, and it would depend on the situation. Still,
Getting deep on Cylon Johns.
No, but I mean, there'd be pain and stuff. But sort of what I guess what I'm getting at is that you know you're not going to die. You know you're not going to survive and be disabled. You know
it's
you're going
not
to
the end for
download.
them, is it?
Yeah, you're going to download and you're going to be in a whole other body that
Isn't
is
that worse in a way?
absolutely perfect. I don't know. I've never had that option.
No, I'm saying just like think about it for a second. Isn't it kind of worse in a way? Because you remember dying, but you're not dead.
Makes me think of the movie Crash.
Good call.
I
Maybe
don't
some of
know.
them think it's awesome.
It's only the body dying, though. It would be a different experience if there isn't brain death. Does that make sense? So it's not true death for them. I don't think. I think it is literally just the container, and what makes them them is like their consciousness, their soul, whatever you want to call it, which is then just moved into a new vessel. So
So you're saying you think Cylons have souls?
maybe they obviously have something. It's not just a collection of memories.
It could
Well,
be
you know,
just
because in Flesh and Bone, Starbuck brings that up. She says, I think you're too far from your ship to download.
or
Mm.
something of like that they're in the cloud, like they have a cloud or like the ether where it's just like in whatever it dies, then it just lands into a new one that's an empty shell, I guess, or an empty model. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's what does go into the new model. I think it's more than just a collection of memories and data. It is kind of personality and experiences and feelings and emotions and everything as well that goes with it. And I don't think you could say that that's just like a machine's data. I think there's more to it than that.
Okay.
But then, like, what's the definition of a soul anyway? It's a tricky question.
What is
Very,
the
very
definition of
deep.
soul?
I should have bought my goggles.
Yeah.
I kind of spent 6 years in school talking about what is a soul, and it makes me a very good bartender.
Yeah. I don't know. Then it's going very philosophical.
Dexter's mom said perhaps it's like childbirth. The pain is terrible, but the end result makes it worth it.
Mm.
True.
All right, so I'm sorry for derailing things. I just wanted your thoughts on all of that, because this was the point in the episode where I really started wondering about Cylon. This was the point in the series where I really started wondering about Cylons, and if, like, this episode and the previous two, like, you know, what do you think? Are they just innately evil? Do you sympathize with them? Can you understand why they do what they do? Like this was at least for me, and the point in the series where I started thinking that way. And maybe it's because I am a Cylon, but I was just wondering what the rest of the panel thought. Because you're all Cylons too.
I do have an interesting thought, actually. When they're talking about so after Starbuck escapes and Caprica Boomer is explaining what was going on, and it was this breeding program because they can't reproduce, and procreation's one of God's commandments, and we can't do it. It made me think of like the biological definition of life. What makes something alive is things like homeostasis and undergoes metabolism. They grow, they respond to stimuli, they reproduce, and they evolve. Well, the Cylons have done everything except the reproduction, and there's that whole thing of when they say, "Are you alive?" That so far, if they can't reproduce, they have not ticked all those boxes of what makes something technically biologically alive. Maybe that really was too deep, though.
Yeah. All will probably, as Johnny would say, or John would say, all will be revealed in time about that. But
I'm enjoying your speculation. I'm actually wondering what you think, Mackenzie, because you've been kind of quiet during this.
It's probably like how other, although I'm going out of series at this point, but like how in the what we can assume is what people in the future would think about artificial intelligence and like Cylon type things is that they have to have what is a human experience, and a human experience is all about like described on Westworld. It's a different show, but it's memory, improvisation, feelings, and suffering. So they may feel suffering, but it's a different type of suffering because they acknowledge from other people that this is what it is. It's that not that they actually feel it and like really emote, like they can emote the feelings because the narrative is written, but they maybe don't understand exactly what the feelings are.
I think Boomer feels pregnant.
Well, she hasn't also that has stopped because she hasn't grown, and because we remember we were like, well, how long does it take for like a thing to, like the pregnancy to evolve and stuff? It's like there's no real evidence that she actually is. Like it almost seems like she's degressed in that process because we thought, oh, she might be hiding something bigger. She's been gone for like what, 4 episodes now.
Usually, a woman doesn't show until about the second trimester. Though.
It was literally between.
She's just got really good stomach muscles,
and she's like, I mean, she's fit AF. Like,
I'm just saying, it's just like
beat the shit out of me. Like,
in previous episodes, we thought that it was really accelerated in the fact that she recognized her symptoms. So we were questioning how long does it take. So that's why it's just kind of like, I don't know, kind of thing. But I don't know. But yeah, it's a weird thing for them in the Cylons, especially dealing with it as humans. They're unsure about everything. But they have one that's like a friendly one at least until Boomer 2 decides to do a rebellious act. But who knows?
So are you saying the Cylons are just like children who just got thrown out of the garden?
I don't get that reference.
It's a biblical reference. Adam and Eve.
Oh yes. Not now.
Uh-oh. I didn't get that reference either.
Yeah. I don't know. It's probably a thing, but who knows? I don't know at this point. What was it about this? It's them also. We kind of talked about it, but the other half of this is Starbuck, they like taking the Arab Apollo and them all leaving. Besides not Aaron, Anders. So they left the one person now, I guess, who for now is left on Caprica by himself. That's human.
Well, he's left with a whole troop of
But it was
survivalists and militia people, and
I thought there was way more people
Campers.
that wanted to go on the ship than like.
no, it's just the three. It's Sharon, Starbuck, and Hilo.
Oh, I thought it was more than that because I don't know. I don't know. I'm rambling here, but yeah, we had like that scene. That's
I know what you mean, Mackenzie. Like, because when she came to collect everybody from the fight zone, when she took out the Centurions, when they collected Starbuck, I mean, obviously it's transport ship. There was enough room for everybody to get on. So I at first thought, oh, they're just going to bring everybody with them, but they didn't. So
it's like,
I think it would be a mass distance ratio issue. At least that's my headcanon. Is like actually jumping back to the fleet with like all those people, plus everybody else who's still at the schoolhouse.
surprise.
Like, no, I'm talking like a mass distance rate. That was my headcanon that I came up with. It might not make sense. Some of the science in this is iffy, but science and science fiction is generally iffy. That's why good stories matter more than good science most of the time.
So, sorry, Mackenzie, were you saying something else?
No, I was supposed to pass it to you.
So I'm just going to go ahead and drop the bomb. Does everybody want to go ahead and talk about the baby machine in the corner?
Yeah, because, I mean, and during her escape, Kara comes across Sushan and all the other ladies hooked up to the baby experimentation machines. And so you get the impression from what Sushan says and from what Starbuck is seeing is that all this machinery isn't just, like reproductive equipment. It's life support. Like, as soon as that stuff is destroyed, they're all dead. DED, dead. So, yeah.
By the way, I totally got your reference there.
Thank you.
I used to play Eddie. Yeah, I used to play Eddie years ago.
Did you?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Love, hate, baby.
But yeah, Kara basically has to make a decision to kill this room full of women. Like, at a time that there are not many people left on Caprica. And, Sushan is like begging her to do it. And you can tell by the way that she's crying when she's doing it, that it's like I think Kara really understands what she's having to do and really is feeling it. Like she played that scene like crazy. She was so good in that scene. She's so upset. I was watching it just like, yeah, oh my God, that's awful. But yes, but oh my God, that's awful. And then when she's running and then she gets to the stairs and Simon is there again, you're like, ugh.
I have never wandered around in a daze in a hospital gown and a leather jacket. Anyone who tells you different is lying.
Still more comments about Kara and the ovary juice squeezing.
Yeah.
Julia.
Yeah, this
No,
this
I'm sorry. I just had to throw that joke in there because actually I have wandered around in a daze in a hospital gown and a leather jacket.
yeah, this scene is very sci-fi dystopian in terms like of wanting to A, the machinery, but B, just use women for their most basic reproductive fact. Like even though that this is sort of before, but not after, but also somewhat before the Handmaid's Tale. It's just using women essentially just to breed and to just have people have children, or I guess in this case, Cylons, to make numbers for the other side. And it's a scary thing. And I guess they did test all the fertility for a reason. But sometimes fertility, it like it like wanes all the time. It's like never peak. It's always at its peak like 100% of the time. It comes in and out. It comes in waves. So I'm like, did they test like all of them, and then they like every single egg, and then just like gave it back to these women afterwards? And like we asked the other time, it's like, do they use if it's human women, then the other part of this is like, does it have to be Cylon? Because we've never seen at this point a Cylon male character impregnate somebody. So it's like suspicious AF that they want to use female women but use Cylon men at this. Like, you would think it's the other way around, and that they're just in a sense. I don't know.
I was plagued with a few questions through this whole Caprica adventure. Number one, she's told that Anders is dead. And the doctor knew he was a pyramid player. Like, the Cylons know who he is. And they probably know where he is if they have this much intel on him so far. So the question kind of remains, how do they know who he is? And why haven't they sought him out if they know that he's part of this resistance? And why is it that at the end of the episode, when Kira's so hell-bent on going and taking out the rest of these farms, why is he the one to get the arrow of Apollo and send her back on what she's supposed to do after Boomer tells her that she has a destiny, and that she was the one of the ones that was taken and isolated from the rest and checked out after she fell for Anders?
I have a theory.
Right, as Boomer and Hilo were saying that they have a theory about falling in love, and then she gets taken after she's. I'm convinced.
They say Sharon and Hilo, they were set up to fall in love, and when it got to the end of the episode, I was just like, but as Starbuck and him also set up to fall in love because they've only known each other for a couple of days, and they're like the way they are with each other, and this whole, that he's nearly crying when they're saying goodbye, and it's like, you spent one night together that we know of. She's been off in the hospital for a couple of days, so you've not even been, you haven't even known each other all this long. One intense game of pyramid and a night spent together, and they slept in separate beds afterwards because they were in separate beds when she got up in the morning in that scene. So that wasn't romantic kind of thing. It was like, that's all very quick and very strange, and it's like, are they being set up to fall in love as well? In which case, is he a Cylon? Is she a Cylon? Well, no, she can't. They wouldn't want her over as if she wasn't human. So I don't know. Maybe he's a copy, or I was. Yeah, it made me
I've heard
really, really
these last two
suspicious. That whole
parts.
being. Sorry.
I've heard these last two parts. Very intriguing.
Yeah, just
John's
that.
back.
I'm saying my back is cutting in and out.
Yeah, that thing about being set up to fall in love, that waved some flags for me.
No, I'm just glad Johnny's. I agree, Amy. I'm glad Johnny's back because I felt like Ty. Like,
And the farm thing, I sort of made a connection with that. Oh, and Sushan actually says, can't live like this, baby machines. So she says it's baby machine. But the way they were all sort of laying around with all these tubes and stuff, it was very reminiscent of cattle to me, and like a dairy farm. When you've got all these rows of cows hooked up to milking machines, it was very, very similar to that. And it was just like, farm, yeah, okay. That it made that connection. And if you want to go really far into it, a lot of people who disagree with the dairy industry as a whole will have a very similar thoughts around that the cows are essentially artificially inseminated, like what they were trying to do, which Starbuck classes as rape. Vegans do believe that cows are raped against their will by being artificially inseminated and then having their babies taken away and milked, essentially. So it definitely, that kind of link between the human women being like cattle was really obvious. I'm not a vegan, by the way, but it was just one of those things that it made me think of that.
no, but I think this episode's supposed to bother you. I mean,
Also, can I point out in the chat how bad my internet is? I've been talking as the Cylon Johns all night. I just typed now and it's Johnny be crazy. I don't know what the hell's going on.
Oh my gosh. I
But
just
that-
you're back, Johnny. Like, seriously, I felt like Ty here. I was about to declare martial law.
You should have asked Dee to pick it up in Sasa. She's basically the D of the situation. She'll help you out. Well, that's Dawala. If you just say D, that could be taken out of context. Sorry. Phrasing.
phrasing. Anyway,
Oh,
Yeah,
y'all are getting pretty close there, and y'all are already up to the. Yeah, we're getting close to L. Y'all talked about the tag of the female bitch yet?
what?
I'm just throwing out a funny way to say dog tag, but yeah.
Dog tag.
Yeah, we did talk about the dog tag.
Sorry.
Oh no, it's okay. What were your thoughts on it, Johnny?
On the dog tag, touching thing makes me feel like that she doesn't think I believe she's gonna come back, but she wanted to give him something for hope. I don't think she feels like he'll survive. It's more of a symbolic thing of knowing he's dying, but also giving him hope as well. I don't know if I'm explaining myself well, but
No,
that's how I took it.
No, I understand where you're going there. No, we had just talked about there was a bit of discussion. The reason you have 2 dog tags is in case one gets lost, and that's why she holds on to her own and gives up the other one.
So now they have, what is it? Like a BFF bracelet or necklace where it's like you have one of my dog tags or whatever. But it would be even funnier if, like, I don't think he would have one, but it would be even funnier if he gave her one of his and it'd be like, oh my god, because that'd make it even more cheesy. But also the dog tags, I forgot, makes you remember that they don't like complete squares in this. It's always they cut the corners. It's like, oh yeah, stupid corners. Anyway, I'm right point.
She said she would come back for him. She promised.
Ooh, here's the question, ladies. Do you think she's going to come back for it? Do you think she's going to fulfill her promise? Or die trying?
I don't know. When she sees her Lee, that might change her mind slightly, because in her subconscious she wanted to Lee. So who knows? Like the more you deny it, the more you think, the more everybody else thinks it's true. So
He does have better biceps.
yeah.
That's because he's Taekwon Doug.
Ha!
No, I was saying Lee has better biceps. I mean, at least definition was.
Like I feel like she might, but then I feel like she might also kind of forget about him in a sense. Like in terms of like, yeah, he's probably gonna die in about half a day or something like that. Or there may be a thing where somehow he gets off of yeah, she forgets and like her storyline keeps going on and then somehow he gets to Galactica and goes, hey, and then she goes, oh shit, and then she like the fact that she forgot would catch up with her like that.
What if she's fracking somebody else like when that happens? Would that be awful?
Yeah. It's like, oh shit. But yeah, that'd be funny. Anyway.
Or she's fracking Lee.
Yeah, and then in the middle of that, it's like, holy shit.
Holy shiza.
Yeah,
I think she'll go back.
I do.
Y'all talk about the room number yet?
Ooh, the room number.
I like
didn't see the number.
It's 3, 4,
254.
2, 5, 4. Never mind. I was wrong.
Take that what you will. I can
So,
tell you this, that
2 and
it is the second season of episode 5, and it's the start of the 4th act. But there may be more than that. But that's something I can tell you.
If there is, I'm not going to say.
if you add the numbers together, so 2 and what is it? 2, 3, and what, Johnny?
3, 5, and 4.
254.
So it's 9 plus 2 is 11. Dun, 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 dun. Right?
11 is the magic number in numerology.
Starbuck is the key. Dun, 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 dun.
Starbuck may be the key. What if she is?
I don't know.
She
Well,
is the arrow.
she herself is the life from Zorheim. It's not Rosalind. Rosalind's the fake out of this. Yeah.
Born from salt, smoke, and nuclear fallout.
Yeah, I'm sorry I don't have my Capra cam anymore. I got a new camera for my laptop. And I don't have Caprica vision anymore, so I don't look like I'm in a nuclear fallout shelter any longer.
Also, Starbuck has pretty, like, no one, like, quote unquote, significant in a sense has died yet. And I assume Starbuck has, like, one of the thickest of the thick plot armors she's got on. So, yeah, I think she's more valuable. Maybe because of this and because she was the one that was singled out to be shot, because I don't think they really attempted to like shoot to capture with the other people. So
Sharon even says to her, she says, they know who you are, you're special, and Leo even told you that you have a destiny. What the hell do they know about her that we don't?
Best plot
think-
armor ever.
Yeah.
Destiny.
So she must have to fulfill this destiny that apparently some of the Cylons know about. Obviously not Boomer, unless she's pretending she doesn't know. Because she also seems to know an awful lot about this human Cylon breeding program. But then when Hilo asks her what the second scar is, and she says, I don't know, I don't think I want to know. Do you know? And she says that to Sharon, and Sharon says no. And it's like, well, why don't you know what it is? If you know all about this breeding program, you must know what the tests and stuff are that they're doing. So
She didn't access that data.
yeah, it was just a bit. But why? Why would she know all the other stuff about the place, but then not know whatever they're doing that would leave these scars?
Gotta think about if there's a hierarchy with the Cylons, which may have already been demonstrated.
Did anybody see Julianne's thought here?
yeah, that she wants Starbuck to start running like Arya.
No. Further down. Move further down.
Oh, that the arrow might be that. What? I thought
it was the arrow, but maybe it's the baby.
Oh, that's her destiny.
But she doesn't want it though. What if that's one of
There
those?
are plenty of things I don't want.
What if
I
that's
don't have to get up and stand on my feet for 14 hours tomorrow, but I have to.
What if that's one of the? What if? Hold on. What if Starbuck's hypothetical child has to marry Kilo/Boomer's child, and then that solidifies the Cylon human race again? Like it's a thing. Like that would be the weirdest thing, but also the funniest thing at the same time.
I've just thought of something. So Starbuck had a one-night stand with Boltar. Boltar's apparently going to be a father. What if she had conceived with him and they have removed a fetus, and that is going to be the Boltar and Six baby? And that's why it's not Starbuck's baby, it's Six's, because she's going to be like the incubator because she couldn't conceive it, but maybe she can carry it.
Yeah.
Wow.
Da, 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 da. Da, 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 da.
That's an interesting thought.
I love conspiracy time. Tinfoil City.
I'm going to bring my tinfoil hat next week.
I'll wear all the toaster hats and just
A tinfoil toaster.
because then technically, if there is like that weird thing of that, then well, you could have that idea, but similarly, like that Sharon's only used for one part of the plan, which is to be her own incubator, and same with Hilo, and then something happens where the two of them have to die, maybe, and then Baltar has to raise both children potentially, even though it's only said as one, but they could mix them together. I don't know. I had
Mix them together.
I don't know where it's a mix.
They could split like a single cell, and like through mitosis, they could reproduce the baby.
I don't know.
Why does this Cylon baby have an arm coming out of its head? This was done all wrong.
I don't know. I don't know. I'm making random thoughts here.
Does anybody else have any final thoughts about the farm?
It's just creepy, but I don't know if we'll see it again.
I think it's supposed to be creepy. I mean, by its very nature, it's.
And it's also
There are hundreds, though, possibly thousands, apparently. So there must be a lot more survivors on Caprica.
Then we're
if
Yeah.
if that's the case, because they've found this sort of group, but if they've got hundreds or thousands even of these farms full of women, and they're doing this, obviously they're not going to be doing it on women probably that are suffering from radiation sickness. So there's got to be quite a lot more people out there that have survived so far. Have survived sort of the
Radiation sickness is really nasty. Like it's bad. Like actually, what Simon says is pretty much what happens.
Yeah, it just wouldn't be quiet because you'd hear everyone puking. So
You're things are coming out of every part of your fucking body.
Fingernails falling off, all your hair falling out, toenails, whatever, all that good
skin
stuff.
erupting, and it definitely wouldn't be quiet like he told her it would. But yeah, obviously somebody in that condition is probably
Turn
not
into
going
the
to
Toxic Avenger. Oh, sorry.
be someone like that's not going to be useful, I think, for their breeding program. But maybe if they know now that Boomer and Hilo have managed to conceive, perhaps they'll stop focusing on the women and focus on the men, because maybe it's the Cylon men that are the issue. They're the ones that aren't fertile, and the women are. So the Cylon women can carry babies, but the Cylon men can't conceive them. So they've been going about it. They've been doing it the wrong way around. They've been trying to breed Cylon men with human women, and they should be breeding human men with Cylon women. So maybe they'll start farming the guys instead.
May I just ask, what if love is necessary?
There is that possibility as well.
What if like I mean, let's say like at least for the moment,
Well,
put all
then
your skepticism aside. At least for the moment, it seems like Sharon is being honest. I mean, she's putting herself at risk. She's taking them back to the fleet. Like, she doesn't know that Boomer shot Adama, but she knows she's putting herself at risk just by being another Sharon model in the same spot. So maybe that's important. And what if love is necessary? Ooh. This is so touchy feely. It's so Lion King and shit.
Oh, this nanolon thing. What are we gonna do anyway? We're just gonna have to wait and see. Like all baby making.
I don't know. I made one baby and I was like, yeah, I quit.
Who else has got some final thoughts to give? Bobby? Maybe? You screaming at me?
Come on, Bobby.
Bobby, you're on mute.
Bobby.
She knows she's
Bobby,
muted.
Bobby. Bobby.
I don't have nothing to say. This show's driving me nuts.
Bobby, what did you feel like when Starbucks stabbed the doctor in the neck?
I felt he deserved it.
And she was like, just die already.
Mirror on the wall.
Can't kill me.
Jack the creep. Yeah, he can't kill me.
Mm-hmm. I would, like, honestly, because I watched the Magicians.
I like that show.
I would have thought that it would have been hilarious if she had went for one of his eyes or both of his eyes instead of his neck, because that actor, it's his eyes are the thing that's like broken, I guess you could say. So it's funny that she went for his neck instead. To make me go, aha! At the same time, but anyway. Leaves you with a lot of questions.
Amy, I saw you unmuting earlier.
Yeah. I do have another thought. How does Anders know about Starbuck's mission to get the arrow and go and take it and find Earth.
She told him. She told him in the last episode.
As she told him, because the way he sort of gives her the arrow and says, "Go find Earth." It's like, how do you know what she's up to? But no, fair enough. I mean, if they're from the same place, then he's obviously going to know about the sort of religion thing as well.
Well,
Well, she trusted him immediately, didn't she?
Caprica is like the New York City of the 12 colonies. Like, it's pretty secular. It's pretty, you know, like people know this shit, but they don't really care. They don't pay attention too much to it. They taught it, but you know, whereas like you know, we were talking about a couple episodes, like Geminon would be like the Iraq of the 12 colonies. Like, they're very focused on what they're religiously taught.
I was going to say Vatican City then, but
Vatican City. Yeah, I actually the priest at my parish actually was at Vatican City for 12 years, which is kind of cool. But story for another time when we're not on air.
I was going to say something else about him, and I've totally forgotten what it was. Oh, about the saying that she's going to come back, and they're sort of choking up and everything together. I think she will come back. The fact that she's kind of giving him a dog tags, and there's this whole talk about love and everything, I think he means a lot more to her than her, I don't know, fantasizing about Lee or her one night stand with Boltar. Like, she doesn't really feel any emotion towards Boltar that we've seen. Lee, there seems to be like something there, like some sort of maybe just sexual tension rather than any kind of anything deeper than that. And I think because of how she felt about his brother, that would be very awkward for them to be like in a proper relationship or anything. But how she feels about Anders is very, very different to any of that.
She cries.
Yeah. You know, the look on her face when she thinks he's dead, and getting all choked up about saying goodbye and giving him a dog tags. I mean, they have quite a lot of significance and meaning to them. So to give one away to somebody as like a promise kind of thing, it has a lot of meaning to it. And I don't think she would do that and say that she was going to come back if she didn't have every intention of actually keeping a word and following through with it.
Does anybody like the fact that this turns tropes on their heads? Because Starbuck in this episode says, "I'm going to come back for you." Starbuck is female.
It's the woman going off on the quest and leaving the guy behind. Definitely.
Yeah, and, I fracking love that.
Leaving her favour for him, and so it's like complete opposite to what you'd expect.
Clarissa, thoughts?
First of all, in this episode, I wanted to say I thought that the casting director for this show is just so spot on with every role. It just seems every character seems so natural. What?
Let's talk about what you're really thinking. He's so spot on with every bicep.
With every bicep. I mean, despite the fact that that I realized that Anders is Taekwondo every chance I get. I mean, through the whole thing, I thought, oh, he's like really good as like this action hero, reluctant action hero guy. Like, it comes across that way. And maybe it's the Taekwondo thing, but like that. And then the actor that plays Simon, who to any of you Trekkies out there know, you recognize him because he goes way back, episodes of Voyager, episodes of Enterprise. I think it was even an episode of Deep Space Nine. You know, he's no stranger to the genre. and he really knows how to make unconvincing things seem convincing.
Tired. Whoops.
And yeah, so I was just really interested in it. So but otherwise, I mean, there's so many things that are revealed in this episode. So many things are revealed to us in this episode that I mean, we get an extra Cylon check mark. And I think that even though we're not sure what their plan is, the plan that we have been looking at since the beginning, we're starting to get really strong hints as to what the end game might be here about, it's the breeding and it's the population of their species, and how humans are going to play a role in that. I'm really into this.
And if they need the humans, then they don't actually want to wipe them all out, do they? If they actually need them. So, okay, they have killed a lot of them, but they're not going to try and wipe them all out if they actually need them to reproduce.
They're going to try and capture them, and they're going to go after the fleet when they've used up all the humans.
Well, yeah, they're going to farm them essentially, aren't they? So, but yeah, it's kind of interesting that showing that means that it's gone from, okay, so actually they're not genocidal as we previously thought. We thought they were trying to destroy humanity completely.
Amy, I have something for you, by the way.
Oh, god damn it. Stop it. Evil. Fucking, wow. See, now you're just kind of making me think, I'm onto something. But yeah, they don't want to wipe everybody out if they need them. So,
we'll see.
Damn it. I've lost my train of thought now.
That's what friends are for.
Oh, what was I going to say? It's
Sorry,
completely
I interrupted you. I'm a horrible person.
Oh, it's
I
completely
interrupted
gone.
you with my mustache twirling. You were saying that the Cylons want to breed, and they might need humans, and they haven't wiped them all out. Maybe there's a reason for that.
Yeah, but I was going to say something else, and you made me forget. Never mind. It'll come back to me.
Should we think about giving our ratings and our Cylons?
Yeah. Yes. I think I'm seeing 9.5s and stuff. Y'all talking about ratings?
Yeah.
Like I said, yeah, it sounds like Centurion's on cocaine here. I can't understand.
Sorry, Johnny. We've
It's
gone
my
a little later
stupid
than
internet.
expected.
No, it's my stupid internet. I can't understand what y'all are saying.
It's your
No,
fracking
man.
internet.
You have to play us back.
Okay. Are you okay?
Yeah,
That
Julie.
didn't help.
Marissa got that one.
Y'all are
I
doing
did.
decent on the time,
Yeah.
though. Y'all wrapping up and doing good on the
Yeah.
time.
Yeah. Julianne gave this episode 9.75 mystery pelvic exams, or 9.75 Ty and Ellen hate sex interrupted by a dama. By a dama.
Oh, yeah. I think it is that time, ladies. Your ratings and your Cylons for this week. Can't say Simon.
Damn it!
Damn.
Damn it! No. Oh no. I'll give, I guess, my Clarissa giggles. I give this, even though it was really creepy, 9. What is it? 9 lady baby farms. And my 3 Cylons are the Ties, both Ellen and Saul, And maybe Tyrrell.
By the way, nobody else is ever allowed to say that I ever say anything disturbing because you just said 9 lady baby farms. So nothing that comes out of my mouth ever again is legally nothing that comes out of my mouth ever again is disturbing to anybody.
I thought she said baby farts. See, that's what's going on here. This is weird.
Oh no.
I don't want nobody to laugh.
Oh, yeah, dude, I just got a pass. It's awesome. I love this.
And it's because of I said it.
Amy?
You're silent and rating.
Gross, Bubba.
Oh no, he's probably said 9 point something nil. And...
Elbow deep ovary
Elbow
squeezes.
deep.
Oh no.
That's amazing.
4 out of 5.
Yeah.
This episode should be called Elbow Deep, apparently.
Oh no. Bobby, you gave your ranking in the chat.
I know.
Bubba, you're gonna kill John.
Amy, that reminds me there's something you and I need to talk about after everyone else who's so much more innocent than you and I are.
Okay.
Because you'll think
I
it's
am
shit.
I
slightly
can't even
concerned
read. I've been
that
laughing
someone
so
calling
hard.
this episode Elbow Deep has made me think of that.
You guys are
He's
killing me.
like my kid's age, and I don't want to say anything that's going to offend her, and this just would offend like me,
Oh.
but it's hilarious.
Okay.
You guys are killing me.
Bobby, what's your rating?
I forgot. Oh, 9.0 missing embryos.
Whoa, okay.
Because I think they were stolen.
Nice.
So you think
Good
9
thought, Bobby.
nine Starbucks babies are gonna show up some point? Ha!
Mm.
Hey,
Like, we're
Cylon.
Look at a Starbucks baby. How would anybody react to that?
Would it be a mixture of Starbuck and whoever is the other part of this, or is it just 9 new versions of Starbuck show up?
Well, I don't think they'd be like clones. I
Copies.
mean, they might be. But we haven't seen that kind of technology in this series.
Who knows?
Baltar's gonna think it's his. Did you
But when-
choose any
Bobby thinks
Cylons, Bobby?
Baltar thinks everything's his.
True. Bobby, did you pick your Cylons?
Bobby thinks everything's hers.
No.
Oh.
Bobby, who are your Cylons?
Bobby, here are your Cylons.
Callie? Question mark.
Callie, yeah. Callie,
I think Callie's a Cylon.
what's his name? Billy.
And Cammy. You can't forget her her
Nope.
OG.
That is
You-
my top number 1.
You still think Cammy's a Cylon?
Yep.
Okay.
Quit picking
her
on me,
OG.
John.
I'm not picking at you. I just want to make sure that you weren't joking, that you actually meant that. No, I mean, shit. What if Cammy shows up like next episode?
True.
Yeah. Or
Yeah.
4.1.
She should. Yeah.
What if she shows up next episode like holding a pot pie in her hand?
Oh my god, I'd love it.
Like,
Bobby
so
would freak
happy.
the fuck out.
she's like, "Hey, you fucking wankers! I finally got my pot pie."
I'd be really happy.
She's number 1 Cylon. She's Cylon God.
Yeah.
It's day 1.
Oh.
Yeah.
Bobby,
maybe
you know what? Bobby, you know what you should do? You should make like a mock pot pie in honor of Cammy one time.
I should.
You
Good
should.
idea.
It'd be a
Also, a
mock.
small little nuclear explosion too, right next to it.
In a
Oh,
little
God.
bottle.
Clarissa, who are your Cylons this week? And what's your
My rating is 9 Taekwon Dougs. Because that just tickles my funny bone so much. Good old Anders, who knew what he'd become. My Cylons are Gata, Anders and Tom Selleck.
Yeah. Woohoo. Ah.
And Bobby.
I didn't do it.
Bobby got
Wasn't
her
me.
Cylons.
Bobby's done her.
Bobby, you need to use at least 50 words.
I do not. That was not a requirement.
That's 10.
That's like 10 words right there.
So you have to say 10.
What's your rating for this episode, Bobby?
She gave it already.
She did it. What about Amy?
Oh yeah, no, I'm sorry. Yeah, Bobby gave 9 missing style. I'm sorry. I'm very tired. Amy,
Me too. Stop messing with me.
Okay, my
Tell me,
rating.
like, do this for a while just because like his internet went out or something like that. Like that makes me have to be responsible. I was scared. I was very scared. I was very tired. I'm so glad Johnny came back.
Fine. I'm gonna do some ASMR real quick.
Johnny came back. Like, I was so terrified.
What?
Let Amy
Yelling at me and
Cylons.
You did great, man.
Amy, what's your rating for this episode?
From what I could hear.
My rating is 9.5 ovary thieves.
Ooh.
Are too.
And my Cylons are, I'm going to stick with Tyrrell and Ellen. Can't remember who else I said last time, but they're off the hook because I'm going to go with Anders as well.
You sometimes say Gata, I think.
I
I
did.
think I did. I think I
Yeah.
said Gator last time.
Yeah.
I've said him a few
You did
times.
say Gator last week.
You
He's
usually
an
say
every
Gata,
other
that's
week.
why.
Johnny, we can't give our Cylons, but what is your rating for this episode?
My rating would have to be, at least a 9.5. I'm trying to think of something to equate it to. Bubba and his elbow deep.
You could also do 9.5 morphine shots or whatever to make her sleep.
You can do 9.5 propofol, which is more likely what it was.
Agreed.
Man. I would just say 9.5 straight jackets would be good. They were in an old insane asylum. That'll work.
There you go.
Street check. It's nice.
Nice.
I'm going to go ahead and give this episode 9.5. I fracked ups.
Good job. But who's the one who fracked up, though? Ah.
Ty, he says it.
Oh, right. There.
So the 4 out of 5 smears wasn't enough, Bubba.
Or no, actually no.
10 smears.
I'm going to give this 9.5 chili in a meat locker.
I could have also said 9.5 Joe Dempsey lookalikes for Andrew, aka Gendry.
Except Gendry was like 4 when this came out.
No, that actor's like in his mid-20s now at this point, I think.
Yeah, so if he
Or
was
not
like
mid-20s,
4,
late 20s. Early. Here,
This came out 15 years ago.
Oh, this is not the biggest deal here. You
Oh,
know,
no, back
his,
healthy.
that's his uncle, his funkle. He plays with him all the time now. They go out, they play in the bouncy castle and all that fun stuff.
I stand corrected. Joe Dempsey is now.
Sorry,
Was that
Kenzie.
me that time, or was that Kenzie? Oh, okay.
Oh,
What was it, Kenzie?
What'd you say?
Sorry. You froze up
he's 31 as of this year, so he would have been about 14, 15 when the show started.
He's an old
So-
bastard.
So it's
He's
not
like
impossible.
90 in Westeros years, huh?
Yeah, it's like a dog's age or whatever. Or,
Where'd that southern accent come from? A dog.
I don't know. I hang out with you too much. That's why. Every other day we have a stream.
Came
That's
from
why.
Southern USA.
Hey yo. With that, does anyone have anything they would like to say? Maybe a one-liner from Bobby?
Nope.
Bobby, your last thought about the show, this episode.
I got nothing.
Or do you have a prediction for next week?
No predictions.
As you've been told.
Clarissa?
Well,
I do
first
know.
off,
For next week?
I think they're gonna go to Cobalt. That's what I think.
we got to try to come back on camera and see if I can show some of this stuff.
Kenzie,
But I
you have a prediction for next week?
Hmm.
While John's trying to get his camera working?
Let's see.
Oh, hey, Johnny.
No, I'm trying to see if
let's
I'm
see.
lagging and stuff.
There may be there may be contention if Starbuck, Hilo, and Boomer number 2, aka now Boomer number 2 go back to Galactica. They'd be like, what the hell? When the new one shows up, when the new model shows up or replacement model shows up, there'll be contention of what?
Good thought. Very good thought. Andy, you have a prediction for next week?
That the group that's just left Caprica go back to the Galactica, and Boomer's pregnancy is officially confirmed with a Dark Cottle ultrasound.
Nice. Johnny, put your phone on mute and tell me your prediction for next week.
Phone actually isn't on. Hold on, I'm trying to do something for Bubba. Let's see if it messes up.
Well, I'll give you all my
next
prediction for next week.
Can't give
Just
you
go
that
ahead
one
and let
yet.
me hit that mic button for a second.
You ain't funny, John.
This is never funny.
He keeps doing it.
Oh.
Oh, yeah. Bubba was looking for that earlier.
Yeah.
That's
Oh,
so
the
funny.
devil face.
The
My
devil.
prediction is hell.
Hell is
No.
coming to Caprica.
Did everybody get that?
This shit
Totally,
happened.
because you were in a mini box.
I completely understood what you were saying, man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we know it all now.
Yep, we know every single Cylon, how the story ends. You know.
I think he said fracking at some point. That's all I got from that.
They
My
all
lip
end up-
reading skills are terrible.
Whoever not say
Next.
fracking is like,
No, like now it's by the end of the series, every single person has fracked each other. Watch. That's what he's like.
Because we're all
I don't know.
frackers.
And they
Uh-huh.
spread nanolons throughout the fleet.
Yeah, that's how the show ends. Is that
They all
nanolons?
catch nanolons.
All the
Die.
nanolons have taken over.
you're all going to cry. You're all going to cry within the next 2 weeks. I guarantee it.
All right.
I have no soul, so it'll be kind of hard for me to cry.
Well, no, Canadians don't have souls, but even then, like, your soulless Canadian self. will
I'm a
cry.
soulless
Why do you
Canadian
think our heads
ginger.
have?
Wasn't I told I had no soul also? Because I didn't cry last week.
Oh yeah. No, I don't think anybody really cried except for maybe one of us.
John.
John, the softie.
Just John.
The softie.
The one who says we should all cry. We're soulless.
Johnny-
I'll have the tissues nearby.
We need to start giving a John's tears rating.
Yeah.
I agree.
How many tissues?
How many John Boo-hoos?
Johnny, did
I
you
don't
want to show us?
I might cry. I do the like quiet,
Frack and
like
hoo-hoos.
socially acceptable cry.
Well, you're always in private when you watch these episodes, I assume, so you can say that when you actually don't.
No. I do the like if I cry, even if I'm alone, it's that like at a funeral cry. Like you don't want to be loud.
Stopping into the chat.
Like,
You,
Y'all done?
I think we're done. Show off Bobby's amazing stuff because Bobby won't do it.
I'm gonna
himself.
try to.
Dude, show off
Hopefully,
Bobby's amazing stuff.
I had to turn the resolution down super low, so I don't know if you can see it really good, but
Please
She
note,
makes-
everyone.
wildfire.
With lighting your room right
It's
now.
so blurry you can't even read it because I have the latency so low.
It's lighting your
No.
room right now. You got a patch of wildfire going.
Got some tears of leaves. You know, like I said, if Bobby just wants me
So
to
Bobby's
end it.
trying to kill you,
She
essentially.
just
Then.
wants me to end it at this point. She's like, put yourself out of your misery there.
If the
sir.
back pain's too
There's some
much.
strangler. I use that at con.
Hey, if you need to get rid of that strangler, my brother's birthday's coming up, and I'll be happy to pay for it.
All you need is one granule and you're good.
Oh no! I want the whole effect.
That Bobby gave
You
me.
need a bottle of that?
Now her link is in the chat, in the descriptions. If anybody else could link it actually in the chat, that would be awesome.
How's that
This
tree
is my
holding up?
master
I gotta
book.
ask.
It's holding up good for now. Good for now. I'll let you
Hey,
know when
Bubba
it flies
just-
off and tries to attack me.
Let me know.
While we're talking
I love
about
it.
Bobby's stuff, Bubba just said Bobby's stuff is amazing. # phrasing.
Bobby's amazing stuff. # phrasing. Well, I mean, whatever, Bubba.
Thanks, Bubba.
Whatever suits your fancy.
It is amazing, Bubba. You have to try it out. You
Bubba,
have
buy
to
some of
touch
Bobby's
it.
stuff.
You have to feel it.
I'll come
You
down to
just have
Tennessee
to hold it
and
in
kick
your
ass.
hands.
Like 4 hours away from me.
Those books. I'm gonna make more of those books.
Oh, I love it. I love it. I got my notebook right here.
There we
But-
go.
There's my notebook, yeah.
There's a link in the
Nice
description
bookmark.
or in the chat.
And
Those
then
books are cool.
you can actually smoke the rope.
Ha!
Straight. Straight yeah. With that, Bobby, why don't you plug yourself? Say, I just want some likes because I know you almost got them.
Get Bobby
That's
to 100.
You're getting
that's all
there.
I need is like 11 likes. I need 11 likes to get to
Yeah.
100.
Get Bobby to 100. Do it. She deserves
Do
it.
it. Do
It's
it.
awesome.
I do deserve it.
You do.
It's been a
That's
year.
right.
Come on, I need 100 likes.
Come on.
Well, my friends,
Guys, come
Well-
on. Bobby's fucking Italian. Like, if you don't give her likes, she'll send people after you. So get on that shit.
Not till I get mad though.
Get
Well-
on that shit.
I will give a shout out to everyone in the chat since I've been screwed up tonight. Bubba Husky, Julie Ann 89, Mackenzie L. Burns, Clarissa Thompson. Stop posting stuff in here. I'm joking. Oh, Bobby, your sister came in and that was fantastic to have her in here. Dexter's mom was here. Is that the serial killer Dexter? That's what I'm wondering.
I was gonna
Amy
ask
True.
who was Dexter.
Amy True.
Al was here.
And then we had Jennifer Catalano. And then
Yeah.
Of course, Al was here.
My Twitter
Yeah.
father.
the
Yeah.
Twitter father. Here's the one seed that sowed them all.
A Pack Mule popped in as well.
Oh, AU was here too. Okay. I can't get all
AK.
the way up in the chat.
AK
Yeah,
and
hey.
Ben.
For a minute.
And Ben. Thank you, my friend. Tomorrow's Fire and Blood has been moved. So stay tuned for when that's going to pop out. Also, that's about it. You got something to plug, anybody?
Episode Club Season 3, Episode 8, Second Sons, aka Dario's first introduction, should be sometime before Wednesday. Because we want to do the Red Wedding on Wednesday, and which will be awesome. And other than that, everybody else know where to find me. That's all I gotta
It
share.
smells like somebody's been burning rope in here. # bragging. John, you want to throw a plug out there, my friend?
Yeah.
We all...
Season 3's playlist is going to be coming up sometime between Monday's playlist for the week and Wednesday's midweek music ear candy. So if you want to do some real deduction and use some math skills, I'm sure you can figure out when that's going to happen.
Tuesday.
But it'll be the season 3 playlist. Season 3 of Game of Thrones broken down track by track, episode by episode. And it's a nice day for a red wedding.
It's a nice day. All right. Red wedding. Okay, little.
And that is so not the track I'm using.
I know.
Mhm.
But you threw it the way you threw it there. I just had to try to sing it. Anyway.
Oh, I know. It was planned.
Oh, I'm on Avatar here.
Dude, I'm a fucking
Whatever.
Cylon. We have a plan, okay?
Yeah, apparently you took my face off camera because you hate me. I don't know what's going on
I
here.
didn't
but
take your
okay.
face off camera.
Well, somebody did, and I'm not happy about it.
Uh-oh.
But with that, there is this saying we say, I don't know what it is, but it's hashtag what?
So
say we
all.
Yeah, everybody scream it. Tell them motherfuckers. All right.
So say we all.
So say we all.
Everybody said, whoa. All right, guys. Much love to everyone in the chat. Hopefully you meat bags can just hang in there. Don't get poked with anything. All the red will come out. Take care, my friends. Peace.
Good night.